All right, so in this video, we are going to learn some of the tools in Revit. So we are going to learn more about modeling, but just for the tools, I'm going to go ahead and just create a wall so that we can work with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and on the architecture tab, click wall. That'll put me into the command. One click to start the wall, and then a second click to end it. And then I'm just going to go back up. You can see right now it's set to do a chain of walls. So I'm just going to go to modify to end that command. All right, now that I have an element here, I am going to go to my modify tab, and we have quite a few different tools here that we can use to modify this element. So the first one we're going to take a look at is the move tool. So this will just allow me to, and also if you hover over each of these tools, you'll see that it will give you a little demo video on what that tool is. It's just really helpful as you're learning Revit, and even just as a reminder down the line. So whenever I use these tools, I always select my element first and then go to click on the tool itself. If you don't do that, it's fine, but I'll show you the difference here. If I click on my wall and then I hit move, Revit knows that's the wall that I want to move, versus if I hit the move command, it needs to know what I want to move. So then I have to go click on the wall, and then I have to hit enter or spacebar, and then it enters into the command to move it. So it's a small thing, but as you're working and all these clicks start to pile up over hours of time. So especially if you're working all day in an office drafting. So I always try to make it as quick as possible. So I select my wall here, and then I enter my command. So the move tool is going to let me relocate this wall. So I can do that wherever I click first here. One click is going to be my base point where I'm moving from. And then my second click would be where I'm moving it to. So you can see it's giving me that blue temporary dimension there. That's just so I can easily measure out how far if I have a set distance. So let's say I want to go 10 feet. I can click and move that over 10 feet. If I know I want to move it, I enter that move command again. Let's say 20 feet. I can actually move my cursor in the direction I want it to go and then type. So I'll type in 20 and hit enter, and it will move it that way as well. You can also move things relative to another element. Okay, so let's talk about our copy command. If I use the copy command, that will help me with this. So I'll select my wall, and let's say I want to copy that element. Shortcut for that, by the way, keyboard shortcut is CO. So again, first click is where I'm going to copy from, and I'm going to copy it 10 feet over, and then one click. It does keep you in the copy command because right here multiple is selected, which can be really helpful. You can turn that off if you only want to do one copy at a time, or simply do one copy. I'm actually going to do two here. Let's go to 13, and then I'm going to click modify to end that command. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to move this wall, and I want it to be the same distance away from this wall as that one on the other side. If I go back to my move command, if I start from the inside face of this wall, and then I click to the inside face of that wall, you can see it's actually 23 feet, but if I didn't want to do the math, or if I just need to keep that distance, I can use that move command to move from other objects. It isn't just across. You can use the move command to move vertically, or diagonally, wherever you want this to go, you can move that element around with that command. The same thing goes for the copy command. I can copy in any direction that I would like it to go. And I can also, copy relative from another object. I know I want the same spacing between these. I can use the copy command to do that, to lay those out really quickly. I just got that error because those walls are overlapping. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the arrow keys right now. You can also use those to move things about. They just are not as precise, so just be aware of that. You can also click and drag too. I wouldn't recommend that for precise movement either, but if it's something, maybe you're just moving a chair around in a room or something like that, you can always just click and drag as well. All right, so that's our move and our copy commands. We also have a rotate command. And I'm actually going to go ahead and select a wall here. And my rotate command's right next to copy, RO shortcut. And I'm just going to click to start. And then this is also a 2-click command. You can see I already have the the cursor on the screen there. So one click to start where I want to rotate from. And then I can move my cursor to determine the degree that I'm rotating here. Or also if I know how far I want this to go, I can type it in and rotate the element like that. You can also rotate elements around other items. So if I rotate, oops, I should have clicked my wall first. If I'm going to select that and rotate, but let's say I want to rotate it around the edge of this wall, I can actually move my cursor or the set point of my rotate to there. And then that will allow me to rotate this item. It's always rotating around where that center point is. So you can adjust that if I wanted to rotate it around that item. It will always default to the center of the object. So if you might have to reset that, but you can move that around to rotate. All right, next up we have our trim command. Go ahead and add another wall here. So the trim command is going to either trim or extend items. So if in this one, I actually typically do not select the items first, but let's go with our trim extend to corner. So this is going to trim corners very nicely for you. As you see in the little demo here, you can extend to trim or you could cut back. So what I mean by that is, let's go ahead and put a wall here. And if I go back to my modified tab and trim corner, all right, so if I want to extend, I don't have a wall set up where I could do that. Let me draw that here. There we go. All right, so if I wanted to extend these two and trim the corner, it's a 2-click command. I'm going to click once and you can see these blue dashed lines telling me what I'm going to extend or what's going to remain, and then a second click for that wall. Remember, you're clicking on what you want to keep because you can also use the command, if this is extra, I can go trim, and trim off that extra. But in the same way, if this is the extra, I could trim here. So I'm going to undo that. Also, this is your undo button up here, or Control Z. You can also look, it'll have all of the commands that you've done before you last saved. So if I wanted to undo even all of this, I could. And then I can redo it all as well. It's just up to what you've saved. So I'm just going to undo that one last one there. The shortcut for this is TR. I use this tool a lot when I am in modeling. It really helps. It's very quick on, cleaning up corners very smoothly. All right, so trim extend is going to be a little bit different than that, but instead of trimming the corners, it's going to kind of trim more to a line. So the first thing I want to do with the trim extend is to select the item that I want to trim to. So let's say I want to extend these walls up to this wall. First, I select where I want it to go. And then as you see, as I hover, you see that dashed blue line again. That's always giving you the preview of what you're going to trim to. It doesn't have to touch it. Oh, it's a one-time thing unless you use the next command, which is multiples. But this one just does one at a time. If I wanted to do multiple walls to that, I would use the one for multiple. Again, that first line is trimming, extending, or setting what you want to trim to. And then I can extend as many items to it as I want. This also works if these items are, also for the walls, you can just grab these blue dots to adjust the length. But let's see, so that trim extend, if those items are over, same thing. I set that line I want to trim to, and I can also use it to trim back to or trim up to. Okay, we also have an align tool. So the line tool is going to help you line up items. So let's say that I have a wall opening and I need these walls to align together. Maybe it's a room here. Let's use our TR, our trim. Oh, I don't have anything. I'm going to turn that wall down. Okay, maybe, we have a little wall here, we have an opening, but we need these walls to be in alignment together. The line tool is going to help with that up here, AL shortcut. So line, I'm going to click 2 clicks again. First click is going to be what you want to align to. The second click is what you want to align to it. All right, so one more time. Let's throw another wall down here. And I'm using shortcuts there, AL, for that align command. And I'll click once and then click again and align elements together. And we'll use these tools throughout the semester too. This is just an introduction to them, to be familiar with them as we start to work with them. Okay, we also have our offset tool. That's going to be shortcut OF. And the offset allows me to to move an item a specific distance as an offset. So I can change that distance up here. And you can change how far you want it to go. Also, right now it's set to a copy. So if I do a copy, it's going to create a duplicate of that at that set distance. So you can see again that dash blue line always giving you the preview of it, where it would go. If I don't want it to be a copy, if I want to move that element itself, I can do that as well. It's giving me a warning because those items are joined. So it doesn't have to be a copy. You can actually use it to move an item around. Something that's very handy with the offset is that it will also do chains of items. So in my wall command here, it's going to draw a little chain. And if I use my offset command, remember that shortcut is OF. But if I use my offset, I can actually offset all of these at once. I don't want to do 50 feet now. Let's try 5. You can see it's just going to do one wall right there, but if I hit tab, it will do all of them. And then it wasn't set to copy there, so it made a new one. But if I wanted to copy it, hover tab, and then click. Okay, then we also have a split tool. All right, and there's 2 different split commands. So one is just going to split an element and leave the 2 items. Okay, but now it just made it into 2 walls here. All right, so there are 2 different elements, or there is a split with a gap. So that means that it's 2 clicks and it's gonna create a gap there. It used to delete it. Sorry, that's different. Okay, so it doesn't delete the inner piece anymore. All right, but it's just creating that gap there. Then if you wanted to delete that piece out, you could very easily. All right, and then last one we're going to cover in this video is our array tool. So the array is like the copy tool, but it allows you to copy things very quickly with very set spacing. So I'm going to go ahead and delete everything but one of these walls here. So I'm just going to do a crossing box across that. Left to right is going to select everything that is covered. So you can see that one wall isn't in there because I wasn't totally encapsulating it like I am there. But if you go right to left, it would pick up everything that it's touching, regardless of if it's totally in the crossing box or not. Okay, so I'll go ahead and delete that. I'm going to move this wall up here. All right, I'm going to use the array tool. So that is going to be AR, or these little set of boxes up here. And I'm gonna have this item selected. I'm going to click to start. All right, and then right now it's set to linear and to the number 2. And that's fine. I'm just going to leave it at 2 to start it, but I'm going to click 1, and then my second click is going to set the distance between those 2 when it says move to second there. All right, and then if I wanted to have more, say I want 10, then I could quickly adjust that array and it's going to create duplicates with that set distance. All right, really helpful if you're really quickly trying to lay out some furniture in a space or a ceiling grid, like in a, lighting fixtures in a ceiling grid. So I'm going to draw another wall here, shortcut WA. With this wall, I'm going to use the array tool again, but this time I'm going to set it to move to last. And then this first click is where I'm starting from. Second click is where I'm ending. And now if I do the array, it's going to infill between the 2. So it's going to look similar right now if I do that, right? Because it has the same number. But the real difference is if I change that to 20, it's going to infill in between because the set distance here is between these 2 items. All right, versus this one here, if I say 20 here, it's going to keep expanding that array based on the set distance between these 2 items. All right, so we'll use that throughout the semester as well. There is also an array for the aerial. I don't use that that much, but let's talk through it anyway. So instead of linear, you can switch it to radial. And then I'm going to go ahead and say move to second, and then pull it down to the end here. But it's going to create it along that along a radial. So I'm sure you can find, oh, that's giving me the error because 15 would be too many, it would loop it around. So um, there you go. That's the ray tool.